Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session where we will be looking at ways that you can embrace the silly season to help activate strategic growth for your firm in the new year. Thank you so much for joining. It's going to be a really fast-paced session today. I know time is very valuable prior to Christmas, so it's going to surprise many of you to learn why, in fact, one of your busiest seasons is also one of the best seasons to promote your firm and the opportunities to your clients. I'm going to be diving into that. And I'm also going to share tactical examples that you can implement straight away, as well as some real life showcase of what other firms are doing and what's available. And of course, sneak preview into your options for the new year. Now, I see many familiar faces here on the session today, so it's amazing to have you. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm a marketing consultant to the accounting industry and very, very passionate about what I do. I've had some big wins in the industry along the way, but what I'm truly passionate about is really supporting what I call the OGs of the business advisory world, and that is you, accountants, who are joining me today, supporting you to shine and to really serve your clients in the way that you know you want to, and to have the good work that you're doing behind the scenes in your firm become more visible, more recognized, and more attractive to those ideal clients that you want to connect with. And this is the perfect time of year to be doing that. And obviously, you're here because you want to be more proactive, you want some inspiration. And maybe you just want a sticky beak at what some of the other firms are doing, right? So you're in the right place. Buckle up because the reason that marketing is so important right now is that even though it is one of the busiest times for you in your firm, and I know that many of you are very busy on filing deadlines and trying to crush all your goals so you can log off and sip pina coladas on the beach over Christmas. It's actually a time when most people in the business community have a number of things going through their mind. They might be really stressed about how they're going to get through the Christmas season. That might be twofold. They might actually have a really busy time of year at Christmas, depending on their business type or industry. Or they might also be worried about payroll and all the outgoings and costs while actually revenue and incoming cash slows down during that period. Even though, if you're in Australia, your financial year is July to June, and New Zealand, that is obviously April to March, people are still people, and we still think in terms of that calendar timing, in terms of how we think and how we plan, particularly when it relates to goals and our investments in our business for the forthcoming year. So people are often at this point in the year feeling like they haven't achieved everything they wanted to achieve, or maybe things haven't gone as well as they wanted. Or for some of your clients, things have gone so well that now they're like, whoa, it's starting to get a bit out of control and we need more support. And although they might also be sprinting to the finish line before Christmas, they are typically very receptive to these ideas and thoughts for the new year. And now is the best time to plant seeds that people can start thinking about over the break, because while people are on holiday, that is typically, if they're business owners, the time that they are actually envisaging their next level of success, what that might look like, and what support they need. They are hyperactive online during that summer period, and they usually hit the ground running full speed in January, ready to make decisions, ready for additional support, and ready to hit the go button. Now, the challenge for the accounting community is often you have worked so hard and you're exhausted. You have a real log off and have a break over Christmas and then come back in January and sort of get stuck into a few key projects and things. But what's happening is at this time, all of the online gurus, all of the business consultants, all of the business coaches are busy very effectively promoting to your client base over this time. So, uh, What that means is if you don't have your own marketing in motion and your own momentum, then you are missing out. And often, when clients won't invest in your services or support, it's not necessarily because they didn't actually have the money, but you are competing for wallet share with everyone else selling any type of business service. Obviously, this is not as much the case when it comes to selling your tax and compliance services. They're mandatory, a must have. But anything that falls outside of the must have category and anything that's a nice to have, good to have, will change your life type of service, that's where you need to be more intentional around. Okay. But that old jam of you're trapped working in the firm, not enough time to work on the firm, that probably relates to every single person on this session here, right? You think marketing is too hard and don't know where to start. Many of you have had a bad experience with a marketing agency, much in the same as that there's a lot of, accounting firms out there that aren't as proactive as those of you who are joining here today. There's also lots of marketing agencies that totally don't get what the requirements for promoting an accounting firm are. And I get it. And I have seen it happen, and it is certainly not a good scenario. And then there's many of you on here who have tried marketing before and it quote unquote didn't work. And that's usually because you haven't done it within a framework where you have built demand and desire for that service prior to promoting it. So, what that looks like in terms of a framework that actually works when it comes to marketing is something that really enables you to get in front of your clients with consistency. This is so your current clients, but also then the wider market, because you may be looking to connect with new clients. So it requires frequency, consistency, and potency to create momentum. Now, many of you might be wondering, okay, well, yeah, we get the consistency part. That's hard. That's why I'm here to help you. But what does potency mean? Potency means that it's something deeper, stronger, that resonates. It's not just a chat GPT style blog article that your client could have literally created themselves. Okay, so it's something deeper and more resonant than that. Certainly in today's AI landscape, we use all of the AI tools to help fast track how you create outcomes. However, you need to be careful not just to do the same thing that everyone else is doing and using AI in a sloppy way to create really lackluster content out in market and lackluster outcomes. So, what you really want to do when you're thinking about how to make this work in your firm is to position your firm and the people in your firm, obviously, depending on the size of your firm, as key success partners in your client's journey, not just the people they go to when they need something filed or have a particular tax issue. All right, so obviously they'll do that as well. But when it comes to greater fee uplift and opportunity in your firm and certainly serving ideal clients, you need to be positioning yourself as a partner. And there's no way to get around the fact that that means you need to position you, because the reality is a large majority of firms offer very similar services to each other. So the real differentiator or the real competitive advantage or unique selling proposition, if you like, is you, and it's your team. It's your style, it's your personalities, it's the way you do things and your care factor. So it's actually really important to have your marketing reflect that. There's no better time of the year than December to really ramp that up. All right. Now, you want to engage your client base and your audience with X Factor content and experiences. So I talked about before, we don't just want AI slop going out there, and also we don't want to be rehashing templates that have been used in the industry, like literally for the last 15 years. When I was at the helm of launching some of the very first advisory networks in Australia and across New Zealand, and they've certainly been around, and they're no longer competitive or edgy in the eyes of your audience. Okay. The other thing that most firms miss is they crank the handle on a lot of content for the sake of content. But really, what's missing is not just how to and information, it's actually finding fun, new, interesting, and strategic ways to plant the seeds of interest and desire for your services before you go to promote them and to be consistent year after year after year as you build that curve. I'm going to share a little story with you about that in terms of I'm also a business owner and I have actually a couple of different accounting firms that I am a client of for various aspects that are going on in my life. One of those firms has been sending me communications advising me about tax audit insurance. Obviously, they have a referral partnership with an external supplier that they take referral fee and commission along the way, but it's a win-win scenario because it's still going to help their clients. Now, I've received about 3 communications from them so far about this. I haven't clicked on any of them. I haven't let them know that I'm interested. And the first time I received it, I wasn't interested. But as I've received a couple of more and I've been on a growth journey in my own business and, hearing all that doom and gloom going on in the news about what the ATO is up to, I have started thinking to myself, this is something I might start exploring in the new year because I'll be in the headspace then and I'll have a little bit more time. But if that firm only promoted that service to me or let me know about it for the first time in the new year, I wouldn't be ready to take action because I need those seeds planted and they needed to have time to come to fruition for me to now actually be in a position to take action when I'm ready. So, this is why it's important to plant seeds first, and that's why often marketing quote unquote doesn't work is because we're trying to reap a harvest when we haven't planted enough seeds, we haven't watered them, and we haven't given them enough time. All right, so this may resonate with some of you, and I still haven't had the chat enabled while I'm on here because we've been going for gold, so you won't be able to type in that you are. I think I have it enabled. See if you can chat now. If that makes sense in terms of why you need to be following this framework. Yes, chat's live. I haven't used Zoom for a webinar for a little while. I use other platforms and boy, it catches me every time. All right, so now comment away if you have ever had the experience of why this, why marketing maybe hasn't worked for you or what insights you have around this process for your firm. Let me know. All right, so that's a little bit of a framework, and then we're going to talk quite specifically about what you can do now. Get the tinsel going because it is Christmas time to put this into action. So to go from strategy to tactics and execution. All right, back onto the screen. So growth strategy number 1, conversations about cash flow. Now, truthfully, this is something that I help my clients actually do in November, early November, ideally, rather than December. However, we are here now, and the best time to start is now, and your clients can still really benefit from this advice and support. So, as you will know very well, many of your clients arrive back to their desk in January extremely stressed out. Like the holidays haven't been a relaxing period because they've had to navigate a lot of quite genuinely tricky cash flow scenarios in their business. So, one of the things you can do to be proactive is to help your clients identify these risks, talk about examples and frameworks for how to navigate the period, and also provide them with some content and resources that might make a difference. Now, some of you already sell and offer cash flow planning services, or some of you actually have it bundled into services that you already provide. So, regardless of the actual nuances of your business models and how you price and package, the actual go to market conversations with your client base and your audience are still the same. right? So you can do things like include information inside your newsletter or email communications with cash flow planning tips and strategies. Remembering what I said earlier about your resources being fun, and finding ways to make this information interesting, because as much as accountants love the word cash flow, often it is not inherently interesting to business owners, and they will use language like not having enough money in the bank, not having enough cash in the bank, running out of cash in their business. And cash flow reporting and things like that are often very foreign concepts if they're not introduced in ways that are meaningful for business owners. Like, for example, using language around how they can make payroll during the summer season might land a bit more than how they can manage cash flow. So it's getting into the mindset of your clients, and particularly thinking about some of your clients that you have helped with this and thinking about specific challenges they have had and specific ways that you have helped address that. All right, so you can curate high value client resources to help with this and to help start the conversation. I'm going to share an example of that in just a moment. For those of you who are already doing some great marketing in your firm, you might want to take it to the next level and create a little 1 minute or 2 minute Loom video, which is like a screen share style video inside one of your reporting tools. So it could be Xero, Sift, Spotlight Reporting, Fathom, etc. Any of those ones where you have uploaded their client data and can identify a few things to bring it to life and make it real. These, when they're done personalized and only take a couple of minutes, can be done by someone else in your firm. Doesn't have to be the partner or director, just needs to be somebody with enough knowledge around how to read and interpret scenarios or a little bit of background intel around the client. These have a very high success rate in being opened and being engaged with, and uh, they're a lot more personable than just words on a paper. So that's something that we use a lot in my own business and for some of the software vendors that we work with, and also some of the firms that are really up for doing things that take a little bit more effort but have a much higher outcome. So it's still a good return on time invested. The other thing is personally inviting clients in for a cash flow consultation. Now, I've got the image of the phone here on the screen because, hands down, even in today's day of technology and automations and all the things, nothing outperforms a personalized outreach. So, the highest form of this is a personal phone call to invite someone in for a personal meeting. The next step of that is post personal audio messages, Loom videos, etc., even personalized emails. These can either be from the director or the partner, or it also works extremely well to have someone else, like a practice manager, business manager, or an accountant who supports that particular partner or director, send a personalized email on behalf of the partner or director, inviting that client for a consultation and outlining the benefits. Most of you will be in a position where these are paid consultations. However, like I said, it depends on your business model and what stage you're at. If you're just new to this, you probably want to have a couple of test runs and get some client success stories out of it. All right. So, here's an example of a high value resource around this conversation to do with cash flow. So you can see here on the left, these are two different covers related to resources. These are inside the marketing club that I run for firms. We've got a number of you joining live today and a number who are going to be watching the replay. So props to you, and a large percentage of you have edited your templates and already sent them out to clients or are about to do so this week. So, congratulations. Think about the story I just shared before about my receiving those communications about the tax audit. So, what you will find is that this also applies to every topic that you are promoting in your firm. Some of your clients need to be nurtured along on the journey and see things a number of times before it even resonates or appeals with them. And it's the same with all advertising. If you think about when you watch TV, and as annoying as those advertisement breaks are, you will notice that the big players all have a high frequency of how many times they repeat the same ad. They usually have a slightly longer format and then a clipped down format. And you watch it again and again and again and again, every night. It's the same ads. And although it can be boring and annoying, what you will find is that it makes a very deep impression. Some of you can even recall these ads completely with your eyes closed, knowing the products and what's available. And if you only saw an ad once, you might think, wow, that's interesting, and watch it and you're a bit more engaged, but you never take any action. On the right-hand side is an example of an edited copy of the template. How do you make something your own and your firm's own flavor and style so that it can stand out? And that's where the magic of Canva and AI come in, which I'll talk to you a little bit more about as we go. All right, so the next growth strategy that's perfect at this time of year is having festive fun on the news feed. So sadly, accountants, you get a really bad rep in market for being boring. Now, that's mostly, I think, quite unfair. Most of the firms that I work with are amazing and heaps of fun. But the problem is no one would really ever know that because they can't see that from the outside looking in. So you guys are so busy delivering the work inside your firms. So your social media platforms at this time of year are a perfect channel and opportunity to showcase the fun, to bring personalities to life online in a way that can be really, really cheeky at this time of year that you may not feel comfortable with being that cheeky at other times of the year. And it's not just about new clients. You've got to remember that everyone is on social media. So your current clients, your strategic partners. And for those of you who are building your talent pipeline out in the market, potential candidates are also engaging with your platforms or seeing what you post over this time of year. And like I said earlier, business owners and people in general are very active on social media over the holiday break. It's one of the highest trafficked times for social media, where you will often receive the best engagement and the most reach on your posts. And yet, for most of us, we are clocked off because we're not making anything happen. But what I encourage you do is to do the opposite, right? So I talked about before creating bold content that lights up the news feed and the algorithm that stands out. So December is not really the time to go hardcore on, tax strategies and tax tips and really detailed how-to information. People just aren't in the mind space for it. They want to be entertained. They want to have a bit of fun because they're also grinding it out until the end of the year. Now, I don't recommend that you go quite so far as if you've got someone on your team with tattoos to be in a Santa suit with a tattooed body open, but you can see that that's certainly kind of like, well, has you pay attention to what's on screen, right? Really, really important to share candid team photos, having fun, especially there's many of you who have offices and have team. And from the outside, it's not even clear that you have a large number of people working on your team because you might just have a few directors or partners featured on the site. And so it's important that your clients and partners see you thriving, having fun, and that you have a vibrant team culture. It's also a good time of the year to support local businesses in your area or in your client base. So, local businesses, as you know, really feel the strain over this period. So, if you can comment or engage on their posts where they are promoting their Christmas promotions or offers, believe you me, your firm will be noticed because the amount of people that actually support other businesses on social media is so low these days. You will immediately make an impact. They could be a potential future client or strategic partner for you, or simply just getting your firm's name out there in your local market. Can also encourage gift purchasing. If you have clients on your client base who run sort of retail businesses or e-com businesses or boutiques, you could be showcasing some of the cool things that they sell or have on offer on your social channels to get that in front of your audience and tag them as an amazing win-win value proposition of adding value back to your client base. All right, so not many firms do that, and you're in an amazing position to do so. And then the cool thing about technology is you can have all of your December, Christmas, and New Year content all scheduled, pre-scheduled, I should say, to go live over that period while you're on holiday. Like I said, sipping those pina coladas or, having some amazing seafood over the Christmas season, but you're still not missing out on this high visibility time online, right? So you don't personally have to be going in and manually posting things over the break. That's what technology and scheduling tools are for. Here's an example of some of the festive fun you can have on your newsfeed. This is an example of what we have launched inside the Marketing Club for our clients for this December and festive season. And we have a pre-January pack that will launch so everyone can go on holidays having it ticked and done. But you can see this is a little bit more fun than your average accounting content, right? So it's about knowing the right message for the right time to have the biggest impact. And certainly your early January content should be really aspirational. So engaging people around their big goals, their vision. Also, it's a great time to share and communicate the vision of your firm, right? Because that is just as important. If your vision is inspiring and powerful, that creates potency. And that helps you to stand out and cut through the noise. And you will find that the more you share your vision and in a powerful way, you will attract like-minded clients and like-minded strategic partners to your firm. But they need to know about it. It can't be the world's best kept secret. And it's a great time of year to be showcasing your team. So, not just you, but where do your team like to go on holidays over Christmas? What's on the Christmas menu for your team this year? What are some top strategies or the top gifts that your team members have on their wish list from Santa? So, you can get really fun. You can do things like reels, which are videos that you can edit together. Obviously, those are the most time-consuming strategy, which can be the most the hardest to implement given the time constraints most of you have in this lead up to Christmas. If you've got someone young and gun on your team who wants to give it a go, this is a really good time to give them a little bit of leeway or test the waters, so to speak, because there's so many inherently interesting and fun themes and trending things that are going on online that they can use. That means that ideally it can happen a bit easier and faster than if you were trying to brainstorm something that really, really aligned with an accounting topic or theme, right? So it can just be a little bit more fun. All right, type into the chat if you are ready to get festive this Christmas on your social media, or if you already have some great festive campaigns underway. I love to hear about it. Let's make sure the chat's still working. All right, and then we are going to pump on to growth strategy number 3, and that is using this time of year to deploy high value communications. So many of you, of course, will have some mandatory and necessary communications going out about the tax deadlines prior to Christmas, and also obviously alerting your clients about your office hours and when you will be finishing up for the year. But there's ways that you can make that really fun by also incorporating super fun resources and content that are a little bit cheeky as well. So that's how you stand out from what other firms are doing, is by being a little bit bolder. And one of the keys when it comes to creating high value communications and free resources and client material is that more information doesn't necessarily equal, I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. More information does not equal more value. Now, this is a hard one for accountants because you love consuming information. You have CPD requirements. You are typically detail-orientated people and readers. But that is not necessarily the case for business owners, right? They typically have shorter attention spans and a different way of consuming and engaging with material. So it's not about cramming as many how-to tips in there as possible. And in fact, I've been on the receiving end, not from my clients, not from my members, but from other people in the market of some really horrible communications where it's just jam crammed with all this information that's just been pumped straight out of ChatGPT, way too detailed. And the intention around it, I think, was good. They wanted to be helpful. But if you think about the strategic intention for your firm, it's actually to activate growth, not just translate information. So it's about providing some information, but packaging it up inside a gift of a little bit of other fun things like great design aesthetics, photos of you and your team to be, just cementing that human to human connection. We are, moving into the real fast-paced age of AI next year. So it's obviously all around us right now. But in terms of that disenfranchisement that'll be happening in the market where people are a bit sick of just AI overload, that person to person is so important. So that has to be at the forefront in your resources. Like we said, planting those seeds. So not just how to do something, but actually planting seeds that generate interest for your future services, and to do it in a way that stands out in the market, because in this instance, you're not just competing against other accounting firms. Like I shared at the beginning of this session, you're really competing against the other business coaches, the other consultants and gurus who use all of these strategies and do it really well. And so that's where the wallet share for advisory fees often comes from. So it's important you can create great results in a fraction of the time by leveraging templates and resources. I would not recommend starting from scratch for this because you simply won't have the time unless you have a full-time in-house marketing manager and someone who's been at a very high level who knows how to create this sort of content and strategy. So I'm not talking like a marketing coordinator or someone with a couple of years experience or your offshore talent that you have working in your firm. These are great implementers and executors, but you need to access the strategy from someone like myself, or there's other people out there as well. Then, if you have a great starting point, you can utilize ChatGPT and Canva to customize and make it your own. And that's where the real magic is. And so you can create a stellar top tier result that previously, would have cost like 5 grand through an agency to create. Now you can do almost instantly with the right support. So here's an example of a festive guide. This is what our firms and our networks send out. It's cheeky, it's fun. We create a different version each year. And I would say that last year we had our firms receive emails back from their clients and their strategic partners saying how cool the guide was, that they were printing it out and using it, and they were really quite blown away. And not many firms receive that type of response to their marketing. And it's because good marketing doesn't feel like marketing. It feels like sharing. It feels like adding value. It feels like connection. And this is a major reframe for most firms who think that quote unquote marketing is just about lead generation. Couldn't be further from the truth. It is about the essence of your brand and who you are in market. And don't underestimate the importance of bringing that to market regularly. The minute we get busy, we think we don't need to be marketing, but there's no way that you can build consistency and momentum over time if you have a stop-start approach. And just because you don't see something quote unquote working straight away doesn't mean that it hasn't made an impression and doesn't mean that it isn't going to pay off and you won't see an ROI over time. So that's where a little bit of trust and faith comes in because marketing is more of an art than it is a science where things are right or wrong, or they balance or straight away. So these are some examples of things you can do pre-Christmas. If you're not yet tapped into a marketing club like mine or have support, I recommend taking these ideas, but just perhaps implementing in the easiest to action format based on what you already have access to. So I do really believe that something is always better than nothing, regardless of what you're doing. And then you can just iterate and improve as you go. But if you don't have any great communications prior to Christmas, very likely by the time you get back in the new year, kind of get your game plan going and a few things in motion, it's going to be mid-Feb at least by the time you have something out in market, in which case you have already been beaten to the punch by those other people in market. So this is why it is really important. Here's an example of newsletter graphics and social media graphics that you can share with your wider community and audience, showcasing what you send to clients. So it's not just about what you send to clients, it's also letting the wider world know that you're a cool accountant. This is what your clients receive. And that's all about brand positioning, positioning you as a certain way, positioning your firm as a go-to for people as opposed to having those inquiries where they're just shopping around for an accounting firm and looking for the cheapest price, right? You want to align with clients that are looking for a firm that's different, a firm that's special, because they're a great client and they're looking for a great firm. So it's about showcasing that in the market and again, being powerful in your engagements. So growth strategy number 4 for the festive season. So, what you can be doing now to activate success for the 2026 calendar year. Obviously, we're halfway through the financial year for most of you, but you can actually be quite intentional around how you start scheduling advisory consultations and planning your marketing promotions for the new year. So, first off, like I invest in a lot of coaching support for myself and my business, consultants, and all sorts of sort of advisory services in different capacities that I pay for. And I have a number of them right now, really pushing to pre-book me in for paid sessions at the end of January. Now, it's working. I'm really starting to book in because I just like to front load my year and make sure that success is inevitable because it's booked in and it's happening, as opposed to, being very reactive around it. So you can start planning your marketing promotions and campaigns that you want to send out in January. Because if you've got access to resources and templates, you can actually finish them now and have them ready to go. Or you might go, when we come back in January, it's always a nice sweet spot. It's a bit quiet for the first couple of weeks, and we can smash those out if they're in the calendar and if they're a priority. Okay, but if it's not in the calendar, then it's not a priority, right? And I feel you, that happens to all of us. But back to the story around the coach and consultant booking me in. So there's a couple of things that her team does really well, which is very expensive, by the way, is that she has limited availability. So her assistant reaches out to all of her clients to let them know her calendar availability for our, future periods. In this case, end of January and early February. There's limited availability. There's a deadline to come back to the assistant to book by. And she reinforces that scarcity and social proof by letting us know, following up a week later and letting us know, okay, 5 of those spots have been booked. There's only now 5 available. Please let me know which one you would like to secure. The very powerful and compelling language and using all of the idiosyncrasies of human behavior to their advantage, right? So, urgency, people don't take action typically unless there is a deadline required. Scarcity, there must be some limited cap, and that has to be genuine, of course. You can't just make that up. And a reason to act now, then reinforcing social proof for taking action. Let me share an example from an accounting firm about that, who were promoting a variation without getting into the specifics of a tax planning service. They sent out their first email communication letting their clients and audience know all about this new service and what was on offer and would they like to book in. They didn't get any takers. They sent another email 2 weeks later advising of the session availability and the now limited number of spots. This was actually limited by capacity within their team. So it was actually genuine, and that here was the deadline to take action. They only got a couple of vague sort of interests. Final email the next week saying this is the last chance. You must reply by, this date to let us know, and we will book you in. That's when they had all of the uptake for the service. They also had someone on their team calling around to make the invites. And it's just really easy and friendly. It's not pushy because you're just saying to people, hey, I just wanted to check you've seen this email. I know you're super busy and your inbox is probably crazy, but just wanted to make sure you didn't miss out. Is this something of interest for you? And if so, I can secure a time in partner name's calendar because they only have a couple of spots still available, and this would make a real impact for you in your business. Right? So you can see that that sort of approach possibly feels a little bit outside your comfort zone. It might feel a bit pushy. It might not be your personal preference around how you like to receive marketing or communications. This isn't about personal preferences. This is about profit and driving results in your firm. And that is literally what it takes. Your clients are just as busy as you are. They are just as busy and overwhelmed as you are, and they need to be led. They need to be powerfully led and guided. Let that sink in. I really hope if you get nothing else out of this session today, is to really consider that growth is a culture in your firm that you, as the leaders, set the tone for, not just for your firm, but for your team and then also for your clients' businesses. You do not want to be more reactive and passive than your clients are in their own businesses, because otherwise they won't respect you. And if they don't respect you, they aren't going to pay the fees that you want to command for advising them. Ooh, that's a bit of a mic drop moment before Christmas. All right, now back to the story of the firm that sent out the tax planning campaign. They then sent a fourth email afterwards saying these sessions have been snapped up, is no longer available. Please let us know if you want to get on the wait list for when we open up our next round of capacity so that you're first in. So they then demonstrated like that social proof and behavioral reinforcement that if you don't act now, you miss out. So then people who did miss out, the next time they open up that promotion, think, I better take action. Now, of course, every round of promotions or communications doesn't have that level of intensity to it, right? But from time to time, that's what's required. And in the meantime, that's what your nurture sequence and all this fun stuff in the middle is for, right? So that when you do say it's time for game on, like at the beginning of the year, let's set your goals. Let's get in to talk about your 12-month timeline plan. Your clients have already been warmed up and pre-framed. All right, so I'd love you to consider what's one tactic that we covered today that you can implement now, right? So, of all the things we shared, there'll be some things that resonate with you, some things that don't, or some things that are within your skill set or wheelhouse that you can implement. Or you might already have some things planned. And how can you lock in with radical commitment to making it happen? What would you need to do so that you don't get sidetracked with the busyness and chaos in your firm in the lead up to Christmas? Now that you can see what an impact this has, as I think everyone always radically underestimates how important this is over time and what an impact it has. And they never get to experience the benefit of the impact because they don't commit to that journey. Yes, so planning out social media posts over the holiday period, that is a cool, easy win. That is a cool, easy win. And there are scheduling tools available. Metrical is one that we use and recommend that also has a free version if you want to trial it out over summer. The plan, we don't we don't get any referral fee from them, but it's an easy win, and it also has built-in AI capabilities within it to help with captions. There are numerous other tools that do the same thing, and you can also use ChatGPT as well if need be. All right, so obviously there's a lot to digest here, and ideas are amazing, but it's about diarising and making them happen. If you would like any support to help drive momentum in your firm in the new year, book in for a virtual coffee. After this session, I will be sending the replay link with this video, plus a link to my calendar if you want to pop in and have a casual chat about what this could look like. And I can also demo for you. So everything that I've shared on screen, so all of the social media posts, all of the Christmas guides, the cash flow guides, I'll demo for you very quickly on screen together how we customize those literally in minutes for your firm. So if your firm's brand, colors, logo, style, um, literally in a few minutes using marketing technology, and then how you can make communications your own through tools like ChatGPT. So I do that one-on-one for you because once you've seen it in action and you've seen the magic, you can't go back, so to speak. It can be hard to switch between screens and demo it live because Zoom always has a little breakdown with too many screens and things all loading at the same time. But I'd love to preview that for you. Obviously, virtual coffees are free. We don't need to pay for that. So thank you for joining me. I know it's a busy time. And for those of you who are members of the club, check out the latest resources that have been uploaded this morning, and then also send me through your edited examples so I can help bring these to life for you, because that is like my Christmas gift for this time of year, is seeing all of the amazing content that you put out in market. Because like I said at the beginning, my passion is really for seeing business owners be better supported by our accounting community. And the reason that I run these free trainings like this webinar, and the reason that I run a very cost-effective and affordable marketing club for accountants, is I've kind of figured that unless we do 95% of it for you to make it easy, it's probably not going to happen. So, my invitation to you is to find a way to leverage technology, resources, coaching, and support to make it easier. And if you're doing that, good on you. I can't wait to see it. So, if you post anything online or you do anything cool, email it to me or tag me or forward it to me on social media so that I can comment below, help boost your algorithm, cheer you on. and give you a virtual high five. All right, team, we have smashed through the content in this session. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing your festive fun online. All right, thank you.